Hey guys, it's Mike here, and in this video, I want to discuss something which has been a question that fans have debated ever since the Buu saga of Dragon Ball Z, which is the question about Vegeta, and more specifically, was Vegeta a Super Saiyan 2 before he received the Majin Boost from Babidi that put him not only under Babidi's spell, but massively increased his power to where he was capable of fighting against Goku? Well, that's something I'm going to be getting into in this video because I think that there's a lot of misconceptions surrounding this in the Dragon Ball fandom that I've seen many times over the years in my comments, and as a result, I want to get into that, explain in depth using the manga that Toriyama himself wrote and drew every single week, with some exceptions, and talking about exactly if Vegeta really was or was not a Super Saiyan 2, so let's get into that now. Okay, so let's begin with the first piece of evidence regarding Vegeta's level of power at this point in the Dragon Ball story, specifically near the start of the Buu saga, after Gohan comes over to Capsule Corp in order to get an outfit so that he could be able to participate in the Tenkaichi Budokai and be able to fight alongside Videl while simultaneously maintaining his secret identity as a superhero, the Great Saiyaman. During this point, we have him saying that he's going to enter the tournament. Bulma says, "It must be boring when you know you'll win by a huge margin no matter what." And then we have Vegeta intervene. "Is it indeed?" Then let's make it more interesting. If you're going to compete, I'll go too. Now at this point, what do we hear from Vegeta? Gohan is pretty surprised because he's like, oh no, this is actually be a challenge and I barely even try anymore. And Vegeta says, "Once you were far more powerful than me. But how about now? I've kept up my training while you frolicked in peace." And Bulma backs him up like a great wife should. And it's true, this bum doesn't do anything but work out. Just like his dad. Are all Saiyans like this? And when she says just like his dad, she means Goku, because King Vegeta was more battlefield and natural experience. Wow, are Dad and Gohan going to fight too? And so at this point, we already get a great gauge of Vegeta's strength because of the fact that Vegeta saw firsthand, because Gohan was literally standing in front of him at full power and when he defeated Super Perfect Cell, just how powerful Gohan was as a Super Saiyan 2. And yet Vegeta seems confident that he could defeat Gohan now, despite the fact that Vegeta doesn't actually know if Gohan has gotten much weaker from when he was in the Buu saga, or in the Cell saga rather, and he's seen him at his maximum. And yet Vegeta right here is saying, "Once you were far more powerful than me, but how about now? I've kept up my training while you frolicked in peace." So even though Vegeta might be taking into account Gohan's power diminishing, or at least him getting rusty because he frolicked in peace, he doesn't see Gohan's power until later on in the story. And if Vegeta was only a regular Super Saiyan or a mastered Super Saiyan full power grade 4, why would he be thinking anywhere near the fact that he could somehow defeat Gohan, who not only had Super Saiyan 2, was stronger as a Super Saiyan than his father, which was way more powerful than Vegeta at the time, multiple times in fact, with Gohan's power. But then, not only did he get Super Saiyan 2, like I said, he also unlocked his dormant power, which made him have a multiplier even on top of that. So Vegeta had a massive mountainous climb to have to make through his training, and yet he seems confident he could defeat Gohan. At this point, Goku intervenes and he says that he's going to participate as well. And at this point, he says that he gets this one-day visit. He knows that they're fighting and he wants to fight too. And what does Vegeta say here? "I'll look forward to it, but will you? I'm stronger than before." "Good, so am I, Vegeta. We'll see you later at the big fight." So, despite the fact that, again, Goku was a lot stronger than Vegeta in the Cell games, he still seems confident that he could defeat Goku's level of power from there, and even Gohan as a Super Saiyan 2 right now in the story, which wouldn't be many times weaker than he was in the Cell saga, which I got into in a video that you could see on my channel about how much power did Gohan lose between the Cell saga and the Buu saga of Dragon Ball Z. But let's keep going with power estimates, especially regards to Gohan, because when the tournament got underway, Gohan actually transformed into a Super Saiyan 2. Beginning, first off, he was going to fight against Spopovich. He got mad earlier because of Spopovich, but at this point in the story, he actually was already kind of calmed down. He wasn't just tapping into Super Saiyan 2 because he was angry, despite the fact that a lot of people seem to also have that as a misconception. Maybe I'll do a video about if Gohan actually was a Super Saiyan 2 against Deborah at some point, because I still get people fighting back against that, even though in universe, how much sense does it really make? But nonetheless, let's keep going. He says right here that, oh, you want me to go into my new Super Saiyan form. Great naming convention there, Gohan, for a form you invented. And somehow he lets his dad name it. At this point, Gohan goes Super Saiyan 2. He's imbued with the lightning because Toriyama here is trying to showcase just how powerful he is and how powerful this form is. And, that's something that he does a lot with really powerful characters in the story. But let's keep going. At this point, what does Vegeta say? Okay, now I'm a Super Saiyan, so we fight like this, Gohan says. What colossal power, I can't believe he's immortal, Kibito says. But Vegeta, well, he steps in and says otherwise. He was better back when he beat Cell. He slacked off his training regimen. Peace isn't good for a warrior. So Vegeta's seeing Gohan go Super Saiyan 2 right in front of him. And what does Vegeta say? He was better a while ago. So again, Vegeta isn't really suggesting here that he is in any way weaker than the Gohan we see right now. In fact, we know for a fact he isn't, because Vegeta actually says as much later on, as we get into when I pull that panel up right here. So as Goku starts everything off, he says to Gohan, "You're up next, Gohan. Have you been training?" And this is in relation to him right about to be fighting against Deborah. Gohan says, and Vegeta says, "He took peace as an excuse to slack off. We're stronger than he is now." Of course, we never know what may happen when he gets mad. And even Supreme Kai is shocked about this. No wonder these three are so relaxed. They have access to incredible power. It's hard to believe that mere mortals can shock me like this. Yeah, because you're weak compared to them now, Shin. But either way, what ends up happening here is that Vegeta confirms that he and Goku are both more powerful right now than Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. And Vegeta has a good estimate of Goku's strength right here because of the fact, too, that right before this, we saw Goku become a Super Saiyan 2 against Yakan when he was letting him absorb his power. He baited him into doing this, and as a result, he powered up to Super Saiyan 2, blew Yakan to smithereens, and when everyone goes to get down the hole to fight against Deborah, what does Vegeta say? I see. So Kakarot has surpassed the Super Saiyan wall too. So he's definitely reflecting, because at this point he realizes that Goku is more powerful than himself, which lends into what we see later with the Majin Vegeta fight. But nonetheless, Vegeta's words here are very interesting. He says, so Kakarot has surpassed the Super Saiyan wall 2, which is to say that in addition to someone else here, or to everyone here perhaps. So a lot of people try and interpret this as him saying, oh, he's just talking about Gohan and Vegeta himself doesn't have Super Saiyan 2, but there's nothing to suggest that here, or we'll get into even more evidence later on. In fact, there is definitely a possibility he's saying that both Gohan and Goku have Super Saiyan 2, but the fact of the matter is that again, Vegeta is saying over and over again, I'm more powerful than Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. I can defeat him. We're stronger than he is now. And Vegeta here is comparing himself to Goku's power, not to Gohan's. He's saying that they're both above Gohan, and the only way that he might stand a chance against either of them is if he gets mad, like he did in the Cell Saga, and, like he does later on when he goes to attack Buu's shell, and then Supreme Kai himself says, wow, to Kibito when he gets revived, you didn't see the true power of Gohan on display. So speaking of, what ends up happening next with regard to all of this is that we end up seeing the fight that actually takes place between Gohan and Deborah. Now, in terms of Deborah's strength, I've gone into this many times in videos. However, there is a statement where we get very specific information about his strength, as well as, again, scaling Vegeta and Goku comparative to him and Cell. So, for example, Supreme Kai's freaking out because they don't want to blow up the bottom of the ship and wake up Buu, because he might be able to kill all of them, even if he's not at full power. And Vegeta, I'll bet this Buu isn't much to speak of either, just like Dabra or Deborah. Like Dabra? What do you mean, says Supreme Kai. I'm saying Dabra's not as terrible as you think. We saw him outside, and we could easily have handled him as long as we dodged his saliva. Kibito was just incompetent, that's all. Goku, is this true? Says Supreme Kai. Yeah, at the level we are now anyway. He would have been bad news before, though, says Goku. There was a guy named Cell 7 years ago. I guess they're about the same. Are Super Saiyans really that strong, says Supreme Kai? Come to think of it, it was hard to paralyze Son Gohan when he was a Super Saiyan. He wasn't even at full power. So again, that means that not only is Gohan here way stronger, as we see later on, compared to just being powered up as a Super Saiyan 2 against Kibito, but at the same time, Vegeta is way more powerful than that specifically, because of the fact that he's mocking Gohan's power. And later in the fight, this character who's compared to Cell right here is fighting against Gohan. He's using attacks against him, and then Goku specifically says, so he uses magic, huh? He's tougher than I thought. And yet Vegeta still says that he shouldn't be having this much trouble with him. He was stronger when he was a kid, and I'm losing patience. And what ends up happening? Now I'm annoyed. I'll finish it for him, Vegeta says. So Vegeta seems very confident that he could defeat a Cell-level character who's actually stated to be tougher than Cell, maybe even far more powerful, depending upon your different translation here. And obviously, this is a character who is Super Saiyan 2 level, roughly, because as we've talked about here before, Gohan very likely is a Super Saiyan 2 during this fight, despite the fact that he doesn't have lightning, because like I said before, lightning is often indicated in order to show the strength of a character in a particular scene. So even though Gohan here has lightning as a Super Saiyan 2, just because he doesn't have lightning here doesn't mean that he isn't a Super Saiyan 2. The designs are pretty much identical, as we could see, and not to mention just that, but later on, when Gohan powers up in order to attack Boo's shell, as we could see right here, we don't see the lightning around him, and yet he's able to fire off an attack so powerful that Deborah has to jump out of the way and carry Babidi. He can't just deflect it or stop it. And not just that, after Kibito is revived and finds Shin and then heals him, they're talking about Gohan's level of power. And so he says, no, don't surrender to despair. I could still see a faint glimmer of hope. Kibito says, what? Does this have something to do with Son Gohan? And then, of course, Supreme Kai says, yes, his power surpasses all imagination, and may even surpass Boo's. What? But how could that be? You haven't seen what those 3 Saiyans can do, is what Shin says right here. At this point, this is when he says that they should bring him to the sacred realm of the Kais so that he will be able to do the Z-Sword training. So again, all of this is leading into and indicating that Gohan's level of power here, where Goku and Vegeta are watching and saying that he's been slacking and he's weaker, is Super Saiyan 2 levels of power, and yet Vegeta still thinks that he'd be able to defeat Deborah. And when I say Super Saiyan 2 levels of power, I mean at this point, and of course, Gohan as a Super Saiyan 2 in the Cell Saga, because obviously if the characters get way more powerful in their base, then Super Saiyan 2s could be way more powerful than the characters here as Super Saiyan 2s, and the other lower forms as well, especially in Dragon Ball Super. And then of course, we get even more information regarding Vegeta's power when he first becomes Majin Vegeta and is taken over by Babidi, which he allows himself in order to increase his power because he realized that Goku is more powerful than him. This is something that he goes on to elaborate here, where he says that, insane, you think this is insane? Who cares about Boo? This is what I live for. Goku, he surpassed me. He's Saiyan just like me, but he far outstripped me. Me, the prince, the strongest of them all. He once even saved my life. I can't stand it. And this leads into their actual fight that we begin to see right here in the manga. And at this point, Goku says, I don't want to get hurt and give Boo any energy. I'm going to end this quickly at full power. I talked even more about this in my previous video. I'm looking forward to seeing the fruits of your training in the afterlife, Vegeta says. And Goku goes Super Saiyan 2, and Vegeta says, pretty good, you're stronger than Gohan. So even now, Vegeta isn't saying, wow, your power is like unbelievably unimaginable compared to me. He's still saying that he's equivalent to it, and we see that immediately when he powers up to Super Saiyan 2. The two of them begin their fight, and, immediately led to Boo being awakened. And what do we see here later during the fight? Unbelievable, says Goku. I thought I trained so hard in the afterlife, but we're dead even. You must have trained harder than I did. No, says Vegeta, I thought I did. But you're more gifted than me. I could never make up the difference between us. I finally saw this when you fought Babidi's monster. It was a huge blow. That's why I made up my mind. So that's it? You got Babidi too? Yeah, says Vegeta. At the tournament, the guys who'd known Babidi's minions mentioned they'd gotten stronger, and I thought maybe it would close the difference between us if I let him control me. And I was right. Your pride let him control you just to get stronger? I wanted to be the way I used to be. I want to be the ruthless and cold-blooded Saiyan, to fight it out with you, not caring about anything else. I hated how your influence was making me softer, less aggressive. I got myself a family. I wasn't so awful. I even started to like the comfortable life on Earth. That's why I need to be evil again. Thanks to Babidi, I finally feel strong again. So, none of this is ever saying anywhere that Vegeta used Babidi's power-up in order to become a Super Saiyan 2. Rather, he just felt Goku's power on display at this moment when he became a Super Saiyan 2, realized it was still a good amount more powerful than he was, and even if he fought Goku at full power, he still wouldn't be able to defeat him. And this definitely was proven for Vegeta after he realized Goku can go Super Saiyan 2, no doubt, like that he and Gohan could do, because again, the entire arc, Vegeta saying that he could beat a Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, and that we're stronger than he is now. But the only time he's saying that somebody far outstripped him is Goku as a Super Saiyan 2. He isn't saying that, oh, I didn't even have the form that you and Gohan had. I just was so much weaker because I didn't have a 2x multiplier on top of my other Super Saiyan form that would allow me to be able to stand up and fight against you. No, never says that. Not to mention, does it really make any sense whatsoever that somehow Babidi would just give Vegeta a brand new form? Like that, he, just because he unleashes Vegeta's power, which I'll get into right here, and releases his latent power, does that automatically mean that Vegeta should suddenly get a new power-up? I mean, with Gohan, when he got his Rage Boost and tapped into his full power, he was able to go to Super Saiyan 2, but nothing ever is implied that this is the exact same case. Rather, even when Vegeta becomes Majin the first time, he's just a regular Super Saiyan. He's not a Super Saiyan 2 as far as we know. In the anime, there's a little bit of lightning, but again, nobody even realizes that he's a Super Saiyan 2 up until this fight right here, but that doesn't mean he wasn't already a Super Saiyan 2. And really, all of the evidence goes up to showing that. Even right here, when Boo wakes up, Vegeta starts to laugh. So that's Boo the Jin, eh? Not much to speak of, is he? I should have known, Kakarot. We've gotten too strong by a huge margin. The Lord of Lords is supposed to be invincible, but were you impressed? He was the one who was stunned at our power. So what if he thinks Boo is unbeatable? What does that mean to us? So again, every single piece of evidence that is being suggested here is that Vegeta was already more powerful than Super Saiyan 2 Gohan right here, that he was somewhere in the neighborhood of characters like Goku, even though he wasn't as powerful as him and would have been defeated by him in their fight. And as a result, he was able to get a power-up that made him equivalent to Goku's level of power as a Super Saiyan 2, but nowhere does it ever say once that he was given Super Saiyan 2. So when it comes to discussion, was Vegeta a Super Saiyan 2 before the Majin Boost? I would have to say yes. There's no evidence that I could see that's very compelling, at least in terms of that interpretation of him not having it, other than the fact that he wasn't as powerful as Goku, and he became as powerful as Goku with that boost. If Vegeta really was weaker in not having a Super Saiyan 2 form at least, then why would he have said when Goku and Vegeta first went Super Saiyan 2 that good, you're at least stronger than Gohan? Wouldn't he have said that before they transformed? Or would it make more sense that they weren't significantly below or significantly above Gohan's base form within that 2x range? Because again, all the out-of-universe multipliers say Super Saiyan's a 2 times range. So if Vegeta and Goku in their base forms and as a Super Saiyan were 2 times stronger than Gohan, then what would be the point of them even mentioning that after he becomes Super Saiyan 2? So again, all the evidence says that Vegeta was a Super Saiyan 2 before he went Majin. But I'm sure a lot of people will still disagree, so let me know down below in the comments. Also, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and stick around, because there's a lot more to come in the future.
And you better subscribe!